Good morning, friends. Oh, I haven't even looked at myself once. Um, Good morning. Um, I was on the fence about doing this today, um, but I guess ultimately people still need support, perhaps maybe more than ever. But as a as a white lady, uh, I know that my voice isn't necessarily the one that needs to be heard right now. Um, So I guess before we dive into to support, I just wanted to um, acknowledge that what's happening in this country and the binge team, we wrote a little something up yesterday, which probably doesn't even come close to what we should be saying right now, but I guess we especially wanted to reach out to our Black fans and our Black binge family supporters, to say that we love you, and we're going to work hard to do better for you, and that yeah, there's not really words. We gotta act, because there's not really words. Anyway, I just that was sloppy. I didn't. I just woke up, but I just wanted to say a little something. And I know that life is super complex, and that even even as this country and bleeds, and even more importantly, our Black brothers and sisters struggle to have their voice heard, that we are still I'm from the Twin Cities, sending love to you, that we are still working on ourselves amidst all of this time, and trying to you know get healthier. And I've been doing a lot of reading the last couple days, and about how this isn't just now, right? This is we need to be in this revolution for the long haul, and in order to do that, we do have to take care of ourselves, and so we need to make sure our eating disorders are in recovery, right? So acknowledging that, let's talk a little bit, and this is gonna be messy. This is messy. Whatever I'm saying is super messy. Uh, I felt really sort of uncomfortable releasing an episode this week during all of this, and I'm still really actively trying to process. Anyway, this whole situation that's happening, um, this roar of pain we're hearing across the country isn't about me. So I'm just gonna. I just wanted to acknowledge it though, and say that I'm working on my end to be better, and to try to figure out how to use what little platform I have to amplify Black voices, and to change the horrific situation in this country for our Black our Black friends. Um, okay. All right. So, how's everybody doing? Hey, hey, hey. What's how let's talk eating disorders, I suppose, because they still affect us, even when yeah, it's been rough. Even when there are other matters happening in the world, we still have to work on our recoveries throughout it. And how is everybody making sure that you're taking care of yourselves right now? Yeah, ED is screaming. Oh, Rain had a good date. Things are bleak. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. Um, I loved hearing that the date went well and you didn't think about eating in front of your date. I think that's like one of the perks sometimes of finding sending love to you and your friends and family in the Twin Cities. Um, and that can be a big perk of finding someone that you really dig, because really we want to make our lives bigger when we make our eating disorders smaller, right? And so finding a partner that you can focus on, and let those eating disorder thoughts go. That's really cool. I think that's a really exciting step in recovery. Let's see here. Jessica, I have my fingers crossed for you. Treatment is really fantastic. It was the best decision I've ever made, and I completely understand feeling scared. It's a big change. It's, things are being shaken up, and I would invite you and encourage you to just sort of sit with that discomfort and just 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 try to, if you can, maybe ground yourself, or you know do things that make you feel comfortable today. Wrap yourself in your favorite blanket. Maybe watch some comforting TV. Schitt's Creek, that's comforting TV for me. And just know that once you get there and start to learn about what it's like, you'll some of that anxiety will start to dissipate. Let's see here. I'm having a hard time wanting to go to a protest and knowing I can't extend myself too much or I will relapse. Yeah, Haley, I think it's really important to listen to that. I was listening to Rachel, and I'm going to say her last name incorrectly. I'm so sorry. Rachel Cargill, her talk yesterday, and she was saying that there are different types of people, and different types of skill sets we can lend, right? And she's going to say it way more eloquently than I do, but there are activists, right? There are teachers, there are financial supporters, there are artists, and and showing up at a protest is noble and beautiful and can be risky, but it's not the only way to help, right? This isn't just this weekend. This isn't just now. So I would say, honor your mental health needs, because we need you. We need you, and yeah, we need you, and the Black community needs you. So, perhaps watch a film, um, watch a film by a Black artist, or listen to music by Black artists, and make sure that the proceeds are going to them, and find ways to maybe start. I started to read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me yesterday. You know, and I'm sorry, I'm like, I'm a little out of it today. It was a long night, but it's been a long America for our Black community. So yeah. But finding other ways to educate yourself, to educate others. Maybe hop on the phone with some friends and have a discussion. Some non-Black friends, to not put the emotional labor on them, but and have a discussion about what's happening. are all different ways that we can work, because it's such a deep systemic issue. I know that I, for one, need to just learn more about the history of this country and the history of capitalism in general, because there are so many intersecting forces at play here that we need to work on dismantling. Yeah, listening to police radio, sharing, saving news. Yes, thanks, Harmless. That's great. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Let's go down here. Yeah. Yeah, Andrea. That's yeah, I feel for you. I don't know what that's like. And it's unfair, and it's really shitty, and I'm really sorry. And I hope that we're all working to pave a future where your children won't have to feel that same way, because no one should feel that. No one should feel that. Well, that's very kind. Oh, great. Philosophy Tube. Oh, awesome. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you. I do want to learn more, and I do want to learn it quickly. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated time. Yeah. Yeah. Philosophy Tube. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah. Sending so much love. Thanks, Haley. Yeah. I mean, excuse me while I drink my morning Diet Coke. Yeah, it's with the, pandemic as well, and there's so much pain. There's so much pain. I hope we can come together as a community here in LA, in America, in the world, to address this pain, because when pain's not addressed, it has to go somewhere, right? Yeah. Great. Thank you, Danielle. Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I've been hearing a lot is like looking local, looking into your local organizations, is really helpful. And I would imagine, again, not an economics person here, but that it would also be really good for your local economy too, especially during the pandemic, to find out what local organizations are doing the work right now, and find ways to support it, whether it's if you've got money or time or signal boosting, or just like learning about what they do. Maybe they're taking some volunteers. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Lydia. Sending a lot of love and support your way. Mwah. I'm okay. I'm okay. A lot of people are like, I hope you're okay. I'm okay. I also just woke up. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. The reason, the reason for my eating disorder, I think it's probably manyfold. A combination of, being sold a super toxic diet culture, being someone who's predisposed to thinking kind of in a little bit of an all or nothing way, and also like having some stressful life situations come up, and it was kind of, for me, I think a perfect storm that led me to think that dieting was the answer, and that snowballed into an eating disorder. I think for me, yeah, genetics and trauma, can be big reasons. For me, I think it was a way of managing big feelings, not having to feel them, a way of kind of numbing out, a way to, get control, to for me, my eating disorder made my world a lot smaller, and what I had to focus on a lot smaller. And even though the eating disorder was brutal and terrible, it was easier to focus on that than it was to deal with the complexities of what was happening in life. Um, yeah, some people don't. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really notice that I was developing one until it was kind of too late. Um, yeah, my warning. Yeah, that's that eating disorder voice. That's that toxic diet culture telling us that if we look like this ideal thing, that our problems are gonna go away. And it's such a lie, but it's a powerful lie. Um, yeah, it's hard not to see things in black and white. Yeah, you know, for me, when I was in that place, I really needed to seek professional help and go and have someone help me dismantle that, because being stuck in that cycle, it's really hard. And for me, the only way I was able to get out of that cycle was to Megan, sending you love. Was to make sure that I was eating really consistently and really balanced foods. I, you can't recover when you're trying to restrict. You can't recover and try to lose weight at the same time. It just doesn't work. And again, not not a nutritionist, not a therapist. I'm just you are worthy. I'm just speaking from my own personal lived experience. But I will say that there's hope. I struggled for a really long time, and I was able to get to the other side of it, and get my brain back and get my life back and get my health back. And it can happen, and I really encourage you to seek out the resources and the support to do that. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah. So it's still new. And I hope you can fight your way toward recovery. The sooner that you're able to start working toward recovery, the quicker it can work for you, because well, I don't know if that's true. I'm not a therapist, but I would say that catch it as quick as you can, so that it doesn't steal more time, more precious time from you, right? How did I start recovery? I started it, I oh, hi, Pernilla. I always pronounce your name wrong. I apologize. It's so beautiful, Perny. Um, oh, I lost my train of thought. Um, oh, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry, you guys. What was I gonna say here? Oh, how did I start recovery? Um, yeah. Um, I sort of like dabbled in it first. I went and saw a therapist, and sort of thought, and for some people, working with just a therapist alone can really do it. But for me, I eventually, when that didn't stick, I started with a treatment program, because I really needed a full team. I needed a therapist, a nutritionist, I needed support groups, psychiatrist. I needed the whole kit and caboodle. And that was really essential for me to get well. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's great. That's great suggestions, Rain, to tackle behaviors one at a time. Most meaningful insights you discovered during the recovery process. I think the most meaningful things that I realized were just how much more my brain was capable of thinking about. I was so locked in this cycle, locked in this sort of like food this food cycle of thought that I didn't realize how much the eating disorder was taking from my brain. And as my sort of brain came back to me, I realized, oh wow, like it's like the world's turned into was color again. And it's not always, recovery. Like it's great to be able to think about more than your eating disorder and to be able to go back into the world, but the world isn't always great. Um, you know, there's a lot of like pain and struggle and challenges that come with recovery and getting back to your life. But I think it's a more vibrant way to exist, much more brain space. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see here. Um, let's see. Yeah, it can be hard to accept how much time it takes, but getting through it is so incredible and important. You're listening to this as if it's a podcast. It's gotta be a weird podcast since it's just me reading and responding. Oh, that's sweet though. Yeah, but Denise, you're getting through it. You're getting to the other side, right? And that's really important. That's really important. What is my favorite music at the moment? I mean, this is going to be a really cheesy answer. Sending you love, Megan. But I'm really enjoying the new Bee Squid album that is featured in our binge episodes. And then my dear friend Emma Fitzpatrick, who's going to be in episode 3 of Binge, whose music is also featured. She released a new EP that is absolutely gorgeous. So if you haven't checked out their music, I highly recommend it. It's fabulous. When is episode 3? We were, intending to stagger them 2 weeks apart. We'll see. We'll see. We kind of have to see what's happening in LA, and we were gonna, try and shoot something. We might have to postpone a little bit based on what's happening in the world right now, but we'll kind of see. We're not sure. Let's see here. Do you see a full-length series in the future? If TV network wants to pick it up, I do. We've had a long journey with it. As of now, unless a network wants to hop on board and help us make it, we're gonna make a feature. That's our goal. I'm so glad. Let's see here. Do I live with the actor who plays Grill? I do. How is it? It's fabulous. He's my partner. So he got sucked into this project whether he wanted to or not. He did want to. He's still sleeping. That's why I'm being kind of quiet. What was the floating camera supposed to be at the end of the episode? A drone. Well, what did you think it was supposed to be? It's sort of one of those things where we kind of like let it be a little bit open-ended. I have an idea of what it means. Yuri has an idea of what it means. We all sort of know what it is, but here comes Dewey. Come here. Come say hi. Come here, Dewey. 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 Come here. Come here. He doesn't want to come say hi. I'm so sorry, you guys. How messy was your place after? Yeah, it was really messy, Fernie. It was really messy. Is it annoying to have to clean up? It was annoying. It was really funny in one of the takes where I was like trashing in my room. Dewey got really excited about all the cereal on the floor, and he ran in and started munching. And in one of the takes, you could hear in the background just him chomping away at all that cereal. So he loves the mess. He's getting his food right now. So, let's see here. I missed some stuff here. Oh, how do you talk to someone who you think is experiencing an eating disorder? That's a really, really great question. And there's not like one specific answer. I think, I think it all super depends on the nature of the relationship, how you doing? Yeah. How, I'm gonna move into the other room.
You can, I'm gonna take a photo.
Okay, that's right. I'm gonna go into the other room. So talking to somebody it's really complicated. I think it's important to feel out the nature of the relationship, to find out, I think sometimes leading with experience, and I don't mean like your experience, I mean like, well, you could lead with your experience, but leading with how are you doing inside, rather than focusing on behaviors can be a good way. Trying to get to know how, what their emotional life is like, what their emotional reality is like. Saying things like, I notice you seem like you might be hurting right now, and I was just wondering if you needed someone to talk to, or someone to support you, and seeing if that opens up a bridge for a conversation. It can be really scary to have someone approach you and say they think you're struggling. I know when it started to happen for me in high school, I was very defensive and very scared, and I was still keeping my eating disorder really secret, and I wasn't really ready to let folks in on it. And some things that my really dear friends did that was really, really helpful was just continue to love me as a human being, and continue to, thank you, Denise. Oh, that's great. Continue to treat me like a person, and talk about things other than my own health. So like, making sure to care about all aspects of this person that you think is struggling. I think there are, books can be really great recommendations. I'm reading Christy Harrison's Anti-Diet right now, and I'm really liking it. Carolyn Costin's The 8 Keys to Eating Disorder Recovery is really, really great, and has like a workbook that you can kind of start to kind of work on dismantling your eating disorder through the book. Christy Harrison also has a podcast. Oh, cool, Haley. I want to see that. And if the person, I think you said the person was 13, perhaps talking to their parent a little bit too. I know that can sometimes feel like a betrayal, so feel it out. But if you're really, really concerned about their health, you may want to consult their parent and just say, hey, I think this is going on. And just try to do your best to educate yourselves and be really mindful about the way you approach it. And I think approaching it in a neutral situation, when tensions aren't hot, and with a lot of love, can be really, really useful. Oh, great. We also got Gwen Schubert Grab has taught me. Oh, great. Oh, did she co-write that? She may have. Yeah, just a little more good Diet Coke. Oh, cool. Let's see here. Good suggestions on comedy shows. I mean, I love Schitt's Creek. I just watched it nonstop. I like literally watched it around the clock when I was going through my breakup. I really love Parks and Rec, The Good Place. It can be really nice just to have something comforting on right now. Can be really nice. Oh, great, Andrea. Um, oh, cool. Please do send your Twitch link. I would love to check it out. Oh yeah, Gilmore Girls. I haven't watched that in such a long time. Um, Bob's Burgers, I really like. It's like really soothing to me. Um, and I've lately been watching, which I'm probably gonna watch today, um, Married at First Sight. I love it. Oh, I love it. Um, I don't know. I started watching it. Oh, Rick and Morty. Yeah, that's a great one too. Doing things that are comforting right now can be really, really useful. Oh, cool. Another resource. Thanks, Alex. Another resource for folks. That's wonderful. Um, yeah, I love all that. Oh, did the FaceTime with Frodo take multiple tries? Oh yeah, it took a long time. I mean, we always do at least probably 4 or 5 takes of every scene you see. Just to, play around with it. Oh yeah, I've heard Steven Universe is really good. Just to play around with it and, get into it and give Dashiell, our amazing editor, takes to play with. We said this on our talk back of the episode that we did on, I don't even know what day it is anymore. When did we really? Oh, that was yesterday? Was that yesterday? No, 2 days ago. I don't know what's happening. That we actually we had to shoot that scene. We did like 5 takes of it twice because sweet Ryan, sweet, amazing, hilarious, brilliant Ryan forgot to record the first session. So that scene actually ended up taking us two shooting days, but it's fine. Because we're doing this all in quarantine, there's been so many technical glitches and mishaps. It's just sort of like part of the process of doing it this way. Oh, that's really funny. Chicken wings. Oh. Yeah, so in terms of when episode 3 is going to come out, I'm not sure. Our goal was 2 weeks from this past Friday, but we'll kind of see. We'll kind of see what happens in Los Angeles. Yeah, there might be some delays. We'll see. We'll see. We just got to kind of roll with what's happening in the world. And make sure we're using our time and resources to support, our Black brothers and sisters as best we can during a pandemic. Oh boy, my heart goes out to everybody. Leotard is really triggering. Yeah, my ballerina. I used to love dancing, and I quit because I didn't want to be in the outfits anymore. And I really regret that I quit because I loved it. I wonder if there's a different dance class that you can join, because that sounds really kind of ridiculous that they're not letting you choose a different outfit. I don't know. I don't know much about the ballet world. But yeah, that sounds like you need to take care of your mental health first, right? But I don't know. They're not structured. They're not like, it's just like an open ballet class. It's not for ballerinas. I'm not good at ballet. But in the before times, I would take a ballet class in my neighborhood sometimes, and we could kind of wear whatever. I don't even know ballet shoes. But I suppose if you're looking for if you have actual technique and whatnot, you might want to find maybe there's a class that matches your skill. Okay, you're in a ballet company. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so how do you manage having to move through a situation that's triggering? I wonder if there's mantras that you can sort of equip yourself with, that when you start to hear those voices when you're in rehearsal come in, you can start to sort of use that mantra to sort of rewire what you're thinking. Does anyone have suggestions on what that might be? Let's see here. Yeah. Zoe, yeah, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot to hold, a lot of complexity, a lot of grief and rage and sadness, and fear. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Um, yeah, one of the first memories, that's one of, I'm the same thing, Katrina. I have a first memory of feeling really, body conscious in a dance class, which is so sad because dance is such a beautiful form of movement and should be a celebration of bodies, and there's a lot of tangled up with, a body. Yeah, your body is a way to create art. um oh, that's great, Perny. You wouldn't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friends. Yeah, I love that as a barometer. um can help you sort of get outside of yourself a little bit, and see yourself as the wonderful creature that you are, that we all are. Let's see. I love that, Erica. That's great. Yes, all buddies, all buddies. Yeah, I like that idea. My warning. Yeah, how would you say it to an 8-year-old? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it can be hard to make that mental jump, but it's really powerful when you do. Sometimes, sometimes, like when I've been struggling, I like to sort of like see myself outside myself and just really literally imagine my like 6-year-old self and do a mental energy or exercise of like talking to that version of me. Um, for me, I found it challenging, but helpful. Oh, yeah, Lori, the college dorm room space where ED has full control. Yeah, that's really, really challenging. Are you there now? I wonder if there's a way to like do some sort of some sort of, create some sort of ceremony, for releasing the power, right? Like grab some sage and maybe put on some music that you find empowering, and just take some time in the space and say, eating disorder, you're not welcome here. Like try to find ways to reclaim the space. Maybe it's rearranging a little bit, maybe it's changing some of the artwork on the walls. um, yeah, college can be a really challenging time. That's when my eating disorder got really out of control as well. Um, um, I wonder if like intentionally going through your space and finding ways to make it an anti eating disorder zone, could potentially be something that might help. Putting, writing notes to yourself like ED. Yeah, an ED exorcism. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I will survive. That's great. um, Putting, writing sort of like a mantra and hanging it above your bed so it's the first thing you see in the morning. Making that space as anti-eating disorder as you possibly can, so that you sort of change the energy of it, where it once was this sort of prison that locked you in. Excuse me. And now it's a place where you can fight it and form a different future for yourself. Yeah, I feel I'm sending love to you. How do I get these back? Lyra, waiting on therapy. Folks on here have been sharing some really great free online resources for support groups and whatnot. So I'd highly recommend checking some of those out. We also have lists of virtual support groups posted in the episode descriptions for Binge, so that you can find some support while you're waiting for structured therapy, which I realize it's not the same thing, but communal support can be really, really helpful And especially since this pandemic has happened, there's been a push for a lot more online support systems. Um, any advice on talking to your therapist and being open? That's a tough one. Um, you know, if you're struggling with that, I almost wonder, a lot of times before therapy, I would sort of like make a list of things that I wanted to talk about. You could maybe even write him or her or them a letter and sort of say, Dewey, come here. Um, and if you're having trouble, you know, saying it, there he is. Dewey, sit, please, sit. What are you doing? Um, if you're having trouble saying it, you could perhaps hand the letter to your therapist and they could read it. That's, if anybody else has any suggestions on how to feel comfortable opening up to the therapist, because I know it's challenging, because once you say it, you've owned it as your truth, right? I'm struggling with this, and now it's out there. I always like to remember that the therapist has heard way more. That, you know, if you think, oh, this is going to be a lot for them to hold, they're going to think this, that, or the other about me, they've heard way more. They've heard it all. You know, and this is, you know, this is their job, to listen, right? To listen open and honestly. Let's see here. In recovery, do you think it's necessary to have an eating disorder specialist as a therapist? Not necessarily. I think it can help, but I think everyone's experience in recovery is different and needs different things. And if you jive with a therapist and they're not, you know, ED specialized, great, like go with it. I think that's great. For me, I needed a lot of like very specific eating disorder support, but not everybody does, you know. Everyone responds to different things, and I say just sort of like listen to your intuition and try to be as absolutely honest with yourself as possible. Aw, thanks, Prinny. Right back at ya. Um, um, and yeah, just use your gut, and, you know, try to be honest with yourself too. Am I getting everything I need? Because maybe that therapist is great and you want to do like a support group during the week just to kind of supplement it. If you really jive with the therapist, like, that can be a tough relationship to find. So I say keep going with it. Um, oh, sometimes she seems uncomfortable. I would, you know, I would in a very kind way, I would say, hey, I've noticed sometimes I feel like you might be uncomfortable. I think we forget that we are allowed to say stuff like that to our therapists, and that it actually helps the relationship and creates more trust and intimacy with our therapist, to say, I'm worried that I'm making you uncomfortable. And then their therapist can respond. And if she is uncomfortable, she would probably be very relieved to say that. And you guys can have sort of an honest conversation about the experience. I just forget that you can be honest with your therapist and say, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. Aw. Let's see here. I'm sorry, the comments are coming fast, so I'm missing some of them. Look, it's a floop. That's a really great name. How do you know if you have an eating disorder? I mean, if there is diagnostic criteria, yes. And I would say if it is causing you emotional distress, you deserve support. This refrain, I'm not sick enough, that's part of the eating disorder. I felt like I wasn't sick enough to deserve support when I was in the worst place I ever got with my eating disorder, when I was drunk dialing treatment centers and, you know, barely able to function. I thought I wasn't sick enough. It's part of that toxic voice of the eating disorder. That is something I think every single person who struggles with an eating disorder has thought. If you are suffering in any way, you deserve support. That's end stop. That's it. That's it. So I highly encourage you to seek it out, and I'm glad you found this platform to sort of raise some concerns, and um, things can really change and really get better for you. Yes, yes. Um, area. Yeah, that's a really tricky thing. I would. Is it a good idea to go to a nutritionist if you hadn't eaten in the past? Um, nutritionists, I would be really, I would be really, I would be really specific when seeking them out because they can be incredibly helpful. But diet culture is really strong, and it does infiltrate the medical industry, unfortunately. I really I prescribe to, as someone who is not a therapist, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, I strongly believe in the healthy at any size modality, and that trying to lose weight is really is like a diagnosis, is prescribing an eating disorder to somebody. Again, not a healthcare professional at all, but I would look for a nutritionist that comes from a healthy at any size modality, um, who doesn't buy into fat phobia and and dietitians. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's smart, Haley. Thank you for clearing that out. Look, okay, thank you, Haley. That's really, really helpful. Yeah, health at any size. Yes. There's a lot of fat phobia in the medical industry, just like back in the day when doctors were putting their names on cigarettes. You know, there is, um, I'm not formally diagnosed as having anything. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're not suffering and don't deserve support. You know, you deserve support. If you're in pain, you deserve support. That's it. That's it. You don't have to justify it, right? Um, yes, so Haley so wonderfully brought to my attention that dietitians have to go through a more rigorous process. So look at it, look for dietitians, look for what their, yes, anti-diet, I'm reading it right now. Look for what their perspective on health is. Um, and and if you can find folks that come from a health at any size mindset, um, that's what I would, that that's where I would start, um, because yeah, you certainly don't want a fat phobic nutritionist. And they exist, and honestly they probably mean well. It's just that diet culture is so strong and has infiltrated every part of our culture that that it can be really hard to divorce ourselves from it. Um, yeah, that's great, Denise. I love that. I love that. Yeah, medical malpractice and fat phobia, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm afraid of my family not taking my ED seriously. How can I show them the reality without worrying them too much? That's a great question. I like to approach talking to opening up about your eating disorder in a couple of different ways. And this is just what has worked for me. So I'm really would love other people's perspectives on this as well. But I think that equipping your loved ones with tools, um, books where they can learn about how eating disorders work, and I would love y'all's recommendation on this. 8 Keys of Eating Disorder Recovery, which I bring up time and time again. So kind of doing a twofold thing, right? Presenting information to help educate them on eating disorders and how they work, and also presenting them with what you need from them, whether it's financial support so you can go get treatment, whether it's accountability for what you're doing, whether it's just a big hug and a listening ear to cry on, being clear with, and here's what I'm going through and here's what you can do to help. And making sure you know what your boundaries are. And also saying, here's what I'm doing to stay healthy and to move toward recovery. I am going to this support group. I am seeking out this therapist. So I guess that's more of a threefold approach. Providing educational materials, knowing what you're asking of them, or if you don't know what you're asking of them, saying that, being like, I wish I knew what I'm asking of you in this moment. I don't quite know yet, but I'm gonna try and do my best to be clear with what kind of support I need from you. And then also saying, here's what I'm doing to take care of myself, so that you're educating, you're being specific and clear with what you need, because it can be really, for folks who want to support you, who love you, often they don't know where to start. And so giving them a clear place to start can really help and empower them and help them to feel like, oh, I love this person, and I can hang out with them on the phone while they eat lunch, and I feel like I'm giving them something and I'm doing something to help. And it can help combat that powerless feeling in your loved ones. And then also having accountability and ownership of your own recovery too can help them feel like you're safe and that you're going to get through it. Let's see here. Lyra, oh, I want you to get a new therapist. I'm sending lots of love. Yeah, I feel really stuck in this bubble. Yeah, that's what an eating disorder does, man. It just makes your world so small. It makes it makes your thought patterns go on a loop. It sucks all of the joy and the color out of life. And I really feel for you that you're there. And I just want to say that there's hope, and that there is freedom on the other side, and that there are resources and support services out there to help you and support you and get you into a place where you can get your life back. Yeah. We're nearing the end of our time here, and I just want to thank you all for being here, and encourage you to look at each other's resources that you've posted in the comments. And again, I want to acknowledge what's happening in our world, in our country right now, and send extra love to any of our Black friends who may be watching this. And I don't know what it's like, but I'm going to do better to make this world better for you, in whatever way I can. And I'm listening if you have anything to say, but I'll do the work on my own time so that you don't have to. And those of you who are struggling and in pain, I love you, and there's hope, and go easy on yourselves. And I think this week, let's practice 5% more communication. I like that, 5% more communication. Great, my warning. Yeah, wonderful. I love it. I love you all so much, and let's all just work on being better, showing up for each other, for ourselves, and for those of us in pain. I love you all. Mwah. Mwah.